So let's take a look at this raster versus vector handout here. This image that you're seeing is actually a sample of one of my students' work. It was created in this class for a Photoshop project that you're going to have, where you get to create your own image out of photographs. So this is an example of raster artwork. It's purely photographic, made of pixels. And you can export the image at different resolutions. Just looking at it right now, can anyone tell me, if we say this is the left and this is the right, which one of these would be, looks like it's higher resolution? The one on the left or the one on the right?
Right.
Right. You're absolutely right. Yes, this image on the right is exported at 300 pixels per inch. So there are more pixels packed into every inch. That means the pixels are going to be finer. When I zoom in here, you're going to see, you're not going to see the pixels, because the pixels are finer, more pixels per inch over here on the right. Over here, this is set to screen resolution. So it looks pretty decent when I'm zoomed out to 100%. But as soon as I start zooming in and scaling it up, you're seeing real big chunky pixels, because it's exported at 72 pixels per inch. So, we are running out of time. I'll let you guys kind of read through this. Maybe I'll come back to it for our meeting next time. The difference between raster and vector-based artwork. I can zoom in here, and you can see that I've put in some vector artwork on the side here. And as I zoom in, then you see the imagery become very precise and clean. So this diagram here is showing the underlying structure that vectors are made of, which we call paths. This diagram on the left, it's actually a raster image, because when I'm zooming in, you can see pixels right away. But it's an image, it's a diagram that's about about the formation of vectors, and the underlying structure of a vector is created by a path. Is a path itself. A path is like the skeleton of a vector. So paths are made up of line segments and anchor points, and those line segments can be straight, meeting at sharp corners. They can be a straight line meeting at a curve, as you see here, or smooth curves all the way. You can have circles, like you see here what I created for the sun, and then those shapes can be designed with color, fill colors, solid fill colors, or what type of color can you guys know the name for the type of color that's filling the sun? Type of colorization technique? Gradient. You guys are experts. Yes, that's a radial gradient. And on the sky background, it's a linear gradient where one color is blending into another, and from blue to white there in a straight line. You can put strokes, we call them, in Illustrator, and in design software. The outlines on shapes are called strokes. And effects. You see any effects here in this artwork on the side? Like a glow or a drop shadow. Those are examples of effects that you can put on your artwork. And what's great about working in vectors, as we talked about, is that the artwork is resolution independent. So it's based on a mathematical formula, and you can, you can create the artwork really small. Like if you're creating a logo for a business card, you're making it really small for the business card. And then let's say the business gets huge and the business wants their logo to be blown up billboard size for their billboard. Well, if you design their logo in vectors, no problem. You can blow that baby up, and every shape, every line is going to be crisp and clean and precise because it's resolution independent. So because it's all the shapes created in vectors are based on positioning of points or a plotting of points. And as you scale the work up, the points are just rearranged and the mathematical data is recalculated and the path is updated and the artwork stays crisp and clean. So it's resolution independent. These are some examples of vector data, of like places where vector data is preserved, like you see in this PDF, or native files such as Illustrator files and InDesign files, where you can create vectors within the software, that. And then also SVG files are a type of file that is specifically vector-based artwork. Going back up to our raster imagery example, where raster images are made up of pixels, which are bits of data that are mapped to a grid of rows and columns. So the size of the individual pixels will get larger or smaller as the image is scaled, and you can see that when zooming in on this image. The really large chunky pixels over here on the 72 pixel per inch image, and the finer pixels give you the finer detail. But even on the 300 pixel per inch image, you keep zooming in and you're gonna see the pixels. So now I'm looking at this at 6,400%. Let me go back to 24. So that's at 24%. That's what the image looks like, 2,400%. And then over here, if I go to 2,400% on this one, the pixels are gonna be ginormous. Wait, is this 2,400%? Yeah, they're gigantic pixels there. Just big giant blocks. And so fewer or larger pixels per inch equals less data equals less detail. More or smaller pixels per inch equals more data equals more detail. The more pixels, the higher the quality, but that also means the larger the file size. These are some examples of images, image file types that are raster, like TIFF, PNG, JPEG. Can anyone think of any that I don't have listed here? There are more. They're the images that you would see displayed on the web or taken with a digital camera or scanned with a scanner. Anyone think of any others?
PDF.
What is it?
PDF.
PDF. Well, PDF is actually more like a container that can contain raster images or vector. Like this one, it contains both. But one, like a purely raster image file type would be these here: TIFF, PNG, JPEG. There's also GIF. There's also BMP. There are others too. Okay,